Hey everybody, it's Ramey. I'm getting ready to drop my podcast for next week, and this one's going to be on anti-Semitism and the Palestinian protest movement that's been going on the last couple of years. I know that seems a little crazy and controversial, but again, I'm trying to figure out where the moderate middle stands on issues that are out there. And there actually seems to be factions on both sides, mainly in the far left and the far right, that have some agreement on some of these issues. And I have my own opinions, but as I've shared, I'm always open to listening and kind of what I really want to understand is where people are coming from. I'm not judging anybody. I'm not trying to determine where the moderate viewpoint, I'm just, lies for everybody, but I know where it does for me, and I'm just trying to get answers. So I've got some questions, and if you can comment for me and just give me your responses, and these aren't to be, if you immediately hear my question and decide you're angry or hate me, then there's no use responding because you probably don't take me seriously, and I can't take you seriously because you've already made your decision. I haven't. As I said, I've got my opinion. But a couple questions. One is, why do people refer to what occurred over there between Israel and Palestine over the last couple of years as genocide? I know what my understanding of genocide is, and I just want to know, where that comes from. Also, and I know the words mean two different things, but what is the difference between being anti-Zionist and anti-Semite? I'd really like to hear that, because I hear a lot of people kind of justifying their support because they're not anti-Semites, they're anti-Zionists, and I'm interested. I'm interested in hearing that side of the argument. The other thing that's kind of struck me for the last few years is how have 19-year-old college students, how did they come to have such a strong view on such a complicated issue? It's mind-boggling to me. I know when I was growing up, it's just hard for me to imagine at 19 that I would suddenly have just these absolutely passionate, strong views for or against Jews or Palestinians or frankly anything else. I know in my generation, my freshman year at college, apartheid was a big thing, and it was being protested on campus. It was something I knew about, and I understood the thinking behind it. And I'd like to understand where these 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids kind of, got their information. The other thing is just, again, does Qatar or Hamas or Hezbollah, Iran, Syria, or any of the other players out there have any responsibility for what the Palestinians have suffered? And I'd like to hear from you on that. And what your opinion is, and why it's, it seems like, again, I'm not necessarily a big Netanyahu guy, and nor are a lot of the Israelis. But I think even without Netanyahu, you'd still have hardliners, taking a lot of the same positions from an Israeli perspective. So, I just like to hear both sides. I like to hear, where people come from. And I'll be dropping that podcast probably early next week, but I don't want to do it without getting some input from both sides. So I'll leave it with this. Angry responses make it difficult for me to take you seriously. Try to stick with the facts to shape your opinion, and do it with civility. That's the way I do it. Okay? Thanks. I hope to hear from you.